Good evening, G1s. I'm Master Wayne with this week's G1 interviews, and I'm joined by a podcasting legend. It is Mr. GaminTank. How are you this evening, GaminTank?
I'm doing very well.
Awesome. We're going to start off with a couple of ScrewAttack questions like we usually do. Might throw in a new one here or there. And then, well, if you've seen the show before, you know what to expect. So, how did you discover ScrewAttack.com?
Just through watching Hard News, and there was a point where they were saying that Hard News would be uploaded, it would be posted first to ScrewAttack and then to YouTube. So I went there first, and I did that when I was in my first semester in college.
How long ago was that?
2011, October.
Oh. So,
Yes.
That would have been when Pro Joe was doing it?
Yes.
Oh, so you missed out all the Destin stuff then?
Yes, I've been told that I missed out.
You missed out there. What is your favourite show on ScrewAttack? The original ScrewAttack produced show?
I would have to say top 5.
Top 5?
Yes.
Yeah. You see, that's how I originally got to ScrewAttack.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen some of, like, the other ScrewAttack content that other people would post on YouTube, like the top 10 video game themes and stuff like that, so I knew who they were. I just didn't really go onto the site until I started watching Hard News.
What's your favourite top 10 list or top 5 list?
It would be the top 10 video game themes.
Video game themes, yeah. I did one myself. So, yeah. I can't think of what their number 1 was.
The Legend of Zelda Overworld theme.
Ah. Well, it's well-deserved. Number 1.
Oh, yes.
Pretty much started everything. Who did that one? That was Koji Kondo did that one, didn't he?
Yes.
Ah. I know my stuff, you know. I studied. So, who is your favourite ScrewAttack member of staff? It could be past or present.
Probably one of their past members, Jared.
Jared, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm missing that guy. It's a pity he's over at Normal Boots now.
Oh, yeah.
I remember those GIFs that Revulsive used to do about him, you know, with the shades, and those are pretty cool. And every week there used to be a new one.
Oh.
Do you remember those? Have you never heard
It took me a while to find those, and then it just took a little bit of time, and I ended up finding them.
What was the last thing on the site that made you laugh?
The ScrewAttack and full screen partnership video.
Yes.
The one where Craig walks in and then they said his staff says that they sold the company.
Yeah.
That one was hilarious.
Full screen money. Was it internet money? I can't remember. I would have said full screen money.
Full screen money.
Full screen money. Definitely. And he just walked it from there to the full screen offices. Just. What do you think about all this new ScrewAttack network? Is it a good thing or bad thing?
I really don't know, because it hasn't been around for that long to where I can see, like, if anything will change or if anything has changed. It hasn't been that long since they were bought by Fullscreen, so.
I've seen a lot more traffic. There's a lot more people doing stuff on there now.
I'm kind of bad at keeping track of that kind of thing.
What does G1 mean to you?
Honestly, I didn't really think I would have a meaning for it until I saw one of the other G1 interviews where you, I believe it was Digital Bound
Fitco Inc.
Fitco Inc. Yeah, saying that it meant the great one. I was like, okay, I'll use that. But it sounded like the best definition of a G1. But to me, it's just somebody who's with the community, just really involved in the ScrewAttack community.
Okay, that ends the ScrewAttack portion of the interview. We move on swiftly to your personal work questions. You've been doing a lot of podcasts recently.
Yes.
So, what's the name of the podcast?
Super Genesis 2 Turbo.
That's an awesome title for a podcast.
It was kind of one of the last. We kind of came up with it at last minute. A G1 Jark Magician and I were just going back and forth, like what name we could come up with it before our first recording, and then he threw out the name Super Genesis 2 Turbo. I was like, "That's great."
Yes. So, how did you and Dark Morris come together for the podcast? How did you go about doing it, or how did it all start?
How did we get the idea of doing the podcast, or how we record it?
Yeah, how you came up with the idea of doing the podcast together?
Well, it was actually an idea we had for a couple of months. The only thing we had to get past was the fact that I didn't have a microphone at the time that was able to connect to the computer and record and have us talk on Skype. So we had to wait until I was able to get my hands on one, and it took like 6 months to finally get that done with, and we just started the podcast like the weekend after I got my microphone.
So was you drunk when you came up with the idea?
No. No.
I usually get my best ideas when I'm drunk.
Really?
So, have you got any special guests planned?
Well, we have a certain guest, and I'm currently talking to him right now.
Really? Who could that be?
Someone who goes by the name of Master Wayne.
Ah, I've heard of that guy. He's a really handsome devil. So, if there's anyone else you could have on your podcast, who would you have?
Huh. That's a tough one. I really wouldn't know where to start, but I guess I would go with an answer that anyone else would pick, like a person that anyone else would pick, and that would be Tom the Iron Man.
Tom the Iron Man. Definitely.
Yes.
Everybody wants a piece of Tom the Iron Man. And I hope he approves of this, because I'm doing my best. And what is the future for the podcast? What else have you got planned for it? Any topics or anything like that?
Our next episode, which will be episode 12, we'll be discussing silent protagonists. Now, G1 Dark Magician is the one who handles the topic, so I haven't really been informed too much of what he means by that. I'm the guy who just handles the news.
Silent protagonists. Like, my favourite one is possibly Claude from GTA 3. He's my favourite silent protagonist.
Yeah.
You can think of one off the top of your head?
Just go with Link.
Ah, okay.
Even though he has like little bits of he does have a little bit of a voice. It's just him doing his screams and his yelling and stuff. I would still consider him silent protagonist.
Exactly. He hasn't got any important lines, has he? So yeah. I noticed that you do a lot of reviews on retro gaming, and I'm wondering if you're going to restart those anytime soon.
Yes, I'm actually working on 2 of them. One of them is going to be a collaboration with G1 Dark Magician, which is on Castlevania, and all we have to do is just record our voices, and then I'll just have to edit, and that's it. And that one will be done. And then I'm also doing one on Killer Instinct for Game Boy. And I just barely started working on that yesterday.
Ah.
Yeah,
so you've heard it here first,
it'll be out
folks.
soon.
So, out of everything you've done, all of your works, which is your favourite?
I would have to go with the podcast. It's the one thing that I've done that I've had the most fun doing.
So does anything stand out from those podcasts? You know, a funny moment or anything like that that's particularly a favourite of yours?
Wow. I can't really think of a moment that would stand out against the rest of them.
So pretty much all of it then. All of it's good.
Yeah.
Just give it a listen. You'll understand. Okay, now we move on to the middle segment. We're going to take a breather, and I'm going to spring this on GaminTank. He doesn't know I'm doing this. Gaming confessions. Do you have any gaming confessions you'd like to get off your chest that you're not proud of being a gamer? Do you cheat a lot?
I have never passed a Final Fantasy game.
Oh man, even I've passed a Final Fantasy game. And I hate Final Fantasy.
Oh, me too. I look at the new ones and it's like, okay, yeah, it looks nice, but that's not my thing. Even the old ones that I like, I'll see it, but just for some reason I can't get into it.
Yeah. But the one that I cleared was the very first one on my Sony Ericsson mobile phone. I downloaded it for dirt cheap. It was like £1 or $1 or something like that. And I spent like 15 hours on this phone trying to complete this game. And I promised myself I would not let it beat me. and you got to fight all the bosses again at the end. I was ready to throw my phone into the lake.
Maybe I should go into that game with that same mindset where I would just play it and say I need to beat this game. Maybe I should do that.
I've tried Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 6, with Kafka at the end boss, but I really can't get into it. People trying to urge me to play that game because it didn't feature on my top 15 end boss themes, and I got a lot of stick for it. So I tried to play the game, but I really couldn't do it.
I even have Final Fantasy 2, which is Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah.
Tried playing it. It does not save, so I can't go anywhere with that.
You know the best thing about Final Fantasy?
What is it?
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
You've never played Kingdom Hearts?
Not really.
Ugh.
Not into it.
I was into Disney during the 90s. Meth is a hell of a drug. Right, Okay, and we're moving on to the last portion of the interview. God, it's just flying by, this interview. And it's random gaming questions where we get to have a little fun, talk about video games for a while. So, GaminTank, what is your favourite system of all time?
That will be the Sega Dreamcast. Only
Why?
because it has one of my favorite fighting games on it, Capcom vs. SNK Millennium Fight 2000.
Oh,
And it has one of my favorite Sonic games ever, Sonic Adventure.
I've never played that game personally, but I've heard very good things. Okay then, so what would be your second favourite?
Second favorite would have to be the Super Nintendo.
Ah, you what? Everybody says Super Nintendo. Why that particular?
It just had all of my favorite games that I played when I was younger. So I would say Sega Genesis, but I only had like 4 or 5 games for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a lot more games for my Genesis than my SNES, so obviously Genesis is my favourite system of all time. So what are you playing at the minute, and how are you liking it?
Well, it's a few games. One of them is I'm barely starting to play StarCraft 2. I'm playing with G1 Dark Magician. We played after we recorded the podcast on Monday.
I can't get you two apart, can I?
Yeah, I'll just name drop them as many times as I feel that I need to. I'm not going to do it every other sentence. I've also been playing Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh yeah, love that game.
I'm trying to finish the game. There was a time where I was playing a bit of the story, and then I got out of it to play online, and then just went from there. And now I'm getting back into the story. And I'm playing Pokemon Y, just training my Pokemon. I finished the story, finished the after game story, and just training.
Cool. What kind of Pokemon are you using? What's your front line?
My front line is Charizard, Roserade, Gardevoir, Lucario, Jolteon, and Gyarados.
Oh, the only one I recognised out there was Charizard. Are those all like brand new then?
No, Gyarados is first generation. Everything else is like 4th generation and earlier.
That's probably why I never heard of them.
Yeah, it could be.
Okay, your treasured gaming possession. What did you bring for us today, GaminTank?
It's actually a figure of my favorite Pokemon, which is Blastoise. And I don't know if it's if it has to do with like the game or the show, but I'm just gonna count it for the game. And I haven't opened it because I don't know where I would put it.
So how big is this thing really?
It's small.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a small little figure.
Open it up, stick it on your computer desk.
Yep.
Okay, and our last question. I'm going to give you a shot of asking me a question. What question would you ask your humble interviewer? Could be any of the ones I've asked you today.
I've got a different one. If you were to take any Sonic game that did not do well in the ratings,
yeah,
and you were to take it and make one change to it to hopefully improve it, what would it be?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to pick a couple for this. I would say possibly Sonic the Fighters from the Saturn. I'd probably make a sequel where you can do combos and stuff, make it more, give it more life, give the characters more special moves and stuff like that. And give Sonic his own racing game. I'm not counting that Sega transformed game as a Sonic kart game. Sonic Car was all right, but it could have done a lot better. What else would I have done? I would have given Sonic the ability to do a spin dash in Sonic 1. Even though it did really well, but I would have given him the spin dash in Sonic 1.
I believe he has that ability in the 3DS version of Sonic 1.
Really? Oh,
yes,
man, I need a 3DS.
I've seen gameplay of it, and he has it.
Is there any parting words you'd like to say before we leave, Gaming Tank?
This is the most awkward interview I've ever done.
Awkward.
Then again, it's the only one I've ever done.
Tank. It has been a pleasure to speak with you this evening. I've been Master Wayne for G1 Interviews on G1 Features. Good night, my friends.